Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is a very simple card and I'm going to change up my colors a little bit today. And there's just simple decoration on the inside, but I thought it was very attractive. It's using some of the paper from the Love What You Do suite. And let's see, the stamp set that I'm using here, I'm using two stamps. I'm using the Thank You from the Love What You Do stamp set, and I am using from Lily Pad Lake the water stamp. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I also what I'm going to do is make this card. I made this one in powder pink, but I'm going to make this one just ever so slightly differently. This one is Petal pink in the Subtles collection, and you can see that there are two different pinks, and if you look at them totally separate from one another, this is definitely pink and this is definitely pink. But when I put them together, this pink has quite a bit more of a coral or an orange color to it, and the designer series paper that I'm using is this one from the Love What You Do suite. And this paper, while it goes well with the pink, because it's kind of got a little bit of an orange kind of cast to it, but very pale, I thought it went better with this color pink. And you can see this pink has a lot more red in it. This one has a lot more orange. So we're going to see what happens. So what I'm going to do, this is what you need to make this card. I have a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of black, and this piece of black is 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have another piece of the pink, Petal pink, that is 5 by 3 3/4. Then I have another little piece of black that is 4 inches by 2 1/8. Actually, it's 3 7/8 by 2 1/8. This piece is 2 inches by 3 3/4. Then I have, there's a lot of little pieces in this one, but it really is a very fast card. This piece is 2 1/2 by 1. This piece is 1 1/8 by 2 5/8. This piece is 4 by 3/4. And this piece is 4 by 1/2 inch. So that's all of the pieces that we have here. And so let's just get started. I have mounted my water stamp here and my thank you stamp. And the color that I'll be using, the ink that I'm using, is I'm using my Memento, and then I am using this Petal pink color. And what happened was, when I put this card together, well, it's lovely and I think it's absolutely just fine, it always bothers me when there is nothing on this card. And I know the clean and simple people love that. But on this one, it just felt like it needed a little something more. So what I did was I took this ink and this particular stamp, and fortunately this stamp is actually quite big. It fits completely across the 3 1/2 inch wide piece of Petal pink here. So what I'm going to do is open up my my ink pad here, and I'm going to ink up this stamp, and then I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm going to come right up here to the top, and I'm going to put in, and I'll bring this up because I'm not sure how well you can see that. It's a very subtle pattern, but it's going to be just enough. It's almost like a wash in that it doesn't leave the back of the card blank, but there's very little that you can see. And so stamp off again, and if you overlap, it's not a problem because of the kind of pattern this is. So stamp off once, and again, come down the card, and I'm just going to do the whole card front like this. I could see, oops, I forgot to stamp off on that one. I could see, maybe I'll do another one or two that aren't stamped off just to make it match. There we go. I could see using this as a background stamp for just all kinds of things. I love the fact that it is simple and you can get a very mild looking background. And I've started storing my chamois in this plastic bag and keeping it by my side here and just wiping off my stamps as I go, and then just closing this back up and setting it aside. And I've got several of them in there, and it just keeps them moist. Okay, so that is all the stamping we're going to do with this ink pad. The next thing we're going to do is, at this point, it is putting this basically together. This piece is going to mount or be backed on this little piece, and I'm using some Tombow here on the back because it's got a very thin little border, and I want to be able to have the ability to move this around on the back of the on this card base when I put it on here, and I thought using Tombow might help with that. So I'm going to put it in place, and because it's Tombow, I can move it around on this card base until I get it absolutely where I want it. And I've got just a little bit of glue oozing there, got a little too close to the edge. But there's that piece done. Now then, this piece gets mounted on the top of this piece, and again with the black I'm going to do the same. I'm going to use my Tombow here so that I can wiggle this around and make sure that I get it just on the right spot. These are going to be my thank you cards to my customers who ordered with me this month. So I have a bunch of them to make, and I've actually got several of them done, but I thought I'd stop and make a video on it. It's absolutely just a great fun card. Okay, so this piece is going to then go flat on this piece here again. So as long as I've got the Tombow out, that's what I'm going to use. And I notice people in my classes using way too much Tombow when they glue things. It really doesn't take very much, just around the edges and in the corner, to get the right kind of fit. And the Tombow does give you that opportunity to move things around. Okay, so that's all ready to go. And this piece is going to get mounted on here, and you'll see this piece I did a little bit wider, and I decided that while it filled up the card, I liked being able to see the background once I figured that out, so I made these pieces a little bit smaller, and I think it adds to the card. So now what I'm going to do, I'm using my little corner rounder, and this is still my old Project Life corner rounder that Stampin' Up! Used to sell. And I'm going to get that in the center here, and we just have a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to get my Pierce mat out here and my Memento ink. And I'm going to ink up my sentiment here and just make sure. It's the beauty of photopolymer. I can see right through and I can see exactly how much ink I'm getting on this. And this sentiment just fits on a 1-inch wide strip. And I didn't want it to be any bigger than that. I didn't think it worked with the card. And so there we go. And as is the case, often it didn't ink up perfectly and I didn't use my Stamparatus. So I'm going to use my black marker to fill in where it left a few spots. There we go. All right, another reason to use your Stamparatus as often as possible. Okay, so here this is going to go, well, apparently I cut the edges incorrectly. So let me grab another one. Okay, so in there and in there. All right, so now this should work on this, and it does. Okay, so this now can be adhered to that, and for that I'm just using a little bit of snail to go right on this piece. There we go. And then these two pieces need to be adhered together. That's my decoration for the inside of the card. So I'm just going to grab my silicone mat here and put a little bit of snail on that piece, and then put this on this piece of card here. Get that done, and this card is already ready to go together. So the only other piece that I used is I used some of this satin ribbon, and it's a 1/2 inch wide satin ribbon, black, and it's absolutely luscious ribbon. And so I'm just going to set this here, and I think I measured, you only need about a 3-inch width here to go around this little piece here. And I'm just going to add some snail. I like this card design because this is a card design that you could do over and over and over with any designer series paper where there is black in the paper and any other complementary color. So this little simple design, and of course this could say happy birthday, it could say thinking of you, it could say any number of things. I like this design because it is a simple and easily repeatable card base that you could do kind of in a hurry. And this would be one that you could get this far and then get the inside done and just have a bunch of them on hand, and you could put a sentiment on it that says sympathy, happy birthday, thinking of you, thank you, any number of things. And boy, would that ever make a fast bunch of cards to kind of have on hand. So this piece goes on the inside, and on the first one I put it at the top, and on this one decided I think I like it a little bit better on the bottom. All right, so this piece I'm going to raise on dimensionals, and I have some bones cut here. Okay, so now I've put this piece in place, and I put one dimensional on this side so that it will be the same height as this one. And I'm going to add just a little bit of snail to the other side here. and I am going to put this in place. There we go. And the last and only additional thing I have to do is I put a few of these pretty pearls, and I'm going to not put them in a row on the ribbon this time. I thought that I would just set them around the card here, and just like that. I think that's pretty. It would also be pretty with some black sequins on it. And I think that is all there is to that. So here are the cards that I did. And I also did a card in, or I got started doing it, I didn't finish it, on, or maybe I did. I did. So this is the same card done on Grapefruit Grove, because I thought that orange complemented the color in this paper, the Petal Pink and the Powder Pink. And so there's 3 versions of the card done a little bit ever so slightly differently. And on this one I put the background, and I had the background going vertical and then made it a top folding card. Both of these are side folding cards, one with the decoration at the top and one with the decoration at the bottom. So you could easily, if you ordered with me this month, or you put in an order between now and month end, get one of these cards from me as a thank you. So that's it for me today. I had put up a video of my paper pumpkin alternatives. I think it was on Friday maybe. And so the 2 people that won, I had 2 kits. I had the Broadway Star kit and the Manly Moments kit, because I forgot to do one last month. And they were won. The Broadway Star kit was won by Susan Tipton, and I sent Susan a reply. And Susan, I just need your address so I can pop your kit in the mail to you. And the Manly Moments kit went to Barbara Pawlowski. And so if you will both send me your addresses, I will make sure you get your kits in the next couple of days. And so that's it for me today. The prize draw for this month is the Sitting Pretty bundle, which is the stamp set and the die set. And it is, I think, a $44 value in the catalog. And thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. The other thing I just learned this week is that Stampin' Up! Has an amazing offer this for July. And in fact, I'm going to get a flyer here. You hear me talk about joining my team and that you get $125 worth of product for $99, which is a good deal. And I talk about when you join, and the best time to join is right after a quarter end. And that's what July is. The quarter ends this month. And so a good time to think about joining Stampin' Up! Just because it's after the quarter end would be July anyway. But let me tell you about this deal that Stampin' Up! Is offering right now through the month of July 2018, is that you can select 10 stamp pad sets in addition to your 125. These stamp pads sell for $7.50 each. So that makes it a $75 additional value to join Stampin' Up! So it makes your $99 get you your $125 worth of product and one of these stamp set families. And this is the end color, so the 2000 1719, and 1820. So there are 10. The brights, the neutrals, the regals, and the subtles, and you can choose from any one of the 5. So it's $200 worth of product for your $99. Plus, you'll be starting at after a quarter end, which means that your first minimum, your first full quarter won't be until the 4th quarter. So you have between now and year end to make your first quarterly minimum. And once you do that, it gets you into Sale-A-Bration and the spring catalog, where there are free products for orders that you make, and usually Stampin Rewards are boosted. And so it is a screaming deal right now to join in the month of July. And so I thought I would show this while I was at it today. So it is $125 worth of product for $99 plus 10 grouping of stamp sets, depending on which ones you select. Now you can't pick, one from each row. It is, in fact, the 10-pack subtles, the 10-pack regals, neutrals, brights, or the in colors, both of the in colors. So if you have an interest, please contact me. Always on the end of the video is my telephone number, and certainly you can always reach me at my website. Anything from here can be ordered from my website, www.lbedinger.stampinup.net. And again, if you don't already have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team, and it's a heck of a time to think about joining my team. If you've thought about it, give me a call. We can just chat about it. So that's it for me today. Thanks so much again for stopping by, and I'll be back soon with more projects and more cards. Bye.